You're not going to believe this. This is the worst string of luck you've ever heard. Barack Obama apparently I know this is.
He didn't look backward.
He didn't.
He was looking forward.
He was looking forward, and that's his new slogan. Is forward, and apparently, this according to the Washington Times, he didn't look backward into history when selecting his new campaign slogan. Now, this is the kindest thing I've ever heard. He was mistaken. Somehow or another, he just missed this in history. Apparently, forward is a word with a very long and rich association with European Marxism.
Oh, what a weird, amazing mishap that is.
What
the Obama campaign.
What a bizarre coincidence. Just a bizarre coincidence.
Just really weird.
Apparently, many communist and radical publications and entities through the 19th and 20th centuries had the name Forward, and many of them were, communist magazines. I'm just saying. The name Forward carries a special meaning in the socialist political terminology. It had been frequently used as a name for socialist, communist, and other left-wing newspapers and publications. The slogan Forward reflected the conviction of European Marxists and radicals that their movements reflected the march of history, which would move forward past capitalism into socialism and communism.
They never see that one coming.
They are hapless. They're hapless. These guys.
They really are.
Oh, boy. So many of these things.
What are the odds?
It was like that video he did that was called
The Road That We've Traveled.
Yeah. And it was just like the
road
we are traveling.
Right. Which was a book that was written by the guy who named the New Deal. And he said, you can call it communism, you can call it fascism. I call it political system X. The road we're traveling now will eventually put us there, and we'll be able to have this utopian government.
So weird, because that was an amazing coincidence, too.
And now
this amazing socialist coincidence.
But wait, there's something that the Washington Times missed.
What?
Well, apparently the Washington Times didn't look forward or backward enough into history. They didn't. They missed Mao's Forward.
The Great Leap Forward?
The Great Leap Forward.
That's my favorite forward.
Is it really?
It's a great
wonderful.
Forward.
Oh, you know about the Great Leap Forward.
You're talking about the period between 1958 and 1962. The 5-year plan.
The one that... The what?
Well, it's the 5-year plan, but I don't think that many people made it to the 5th year, so it was pretty much just 4 years.
About 40 million people didn't make it the full 5 years.
45 million.
But, I mean, that happens.
The good part about
that's exaggerating. It's 40 million, not 45
well, 40
million.
to 45. It depends on whose numbers you're using. But who's counting when you're only talking about 5 million extra people dead?
Whatever.
Right.
And if you think about it, World War II only killed 55 million. So, I mean, it was less than that.
Less than that.
Right.
And the good part about it is...
in a longer period of time. Well, no, about the same amount.
Yeah, about the same...
Still, it's less.
Still.
Right.
Yeah. And it's only one country.
Right.
Where we had to do it the whole world over to kill 50
we had to
million.
drop nuclear weapons on countries for that to happen.
Yeah.
There was a staggering degree of violence that was remarkably carefully and cataloged in the Public Security Bureau reports, which featured among provincial archives a historian studied. In them, he found that members of the rural farming communities were seen as the party as merely as digits or a faceless workforce. State retribution for tiny thefts, such as stealing a potato, even by a child, would include being tied up and thrown into a pond. Parents
Wow. Are you saying that there's anybody in this administration that would tie up children and throw them in ponds?
No, this is a hapless mistake.
Right.
That's all this is.
Because you know what? I'm sick of this. Mm-hmm. You do have Zeke Emanuel coming out and saying that, if you have a child with terminal cancer, you can euthanize them. But he never said that you could tie them up and throw them into a pond.
Never.
No,
that's completely different.
Did he ever say that parents were forced to force parents to bury their children alive or douse them in excrement and urine Others,
no, that's Occupy Wall Street.
That's Occupy Wall Street. Others were set alight or had a nose or ear cut off. One man was branded with hot metal. People were forced to work naked in the middle of winter.
But that's Mao's forward campaign.
And that's the great leap forward.
This
That's
is
nothing
just
like
forward.
This is just forward.
Yeah, forward that's European. That's
Right.
that's
well,
European
or Russian,
Marxism.
because Vladimir Lenin, you may have heard the name.
Right, yeah.
Vladimir Lenin
Beatles, yeah.
founded the publication Viperd, which is the Russian word for forward,
Oh, that's so
which is
Yeah.
completely different than the English
Right.
word forward.
Well,
and that was clear back in 1905. So
yeah,
you'd
well,
never.
but Marx and Engels also published a magazine in Germany called Forward. But they're a complete.
But you know what? Nobody's been to school in the Obama administration. They wouldn't know this.
You're right.
Nobody's been to school.
No,
So they
but
wouldn't
none
know.
of them. And seriously, none of them like Marxist.
No.
And none of them know Marxism.
No.
None of them know the history of Mao at all.
It's just another amazing coincidence.
You know what I found to be some of the worst luck of them all is how this whole forward thing. There's this news network that's been accused over and over again as essentially being part of the Obama administration, has met with them over and over and over again. And for the last year, they've been pitching a new slogan called Lean Forward.
I just thought of that.
What are the
What a weird
odds?
coincidence.
It's such
So wait a minute. So wait a minute. It's like it's kind of like flirt with Marxism.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Lean that way.
Lean towards Marxism and communism.
Right.
Huh.
It gets you started a little bit.
I
'Cause
never-
You might think initially, I'm not going to go to Marxism. Remember all those millions of people who died? And then you're like, wait a minute, I've been leaning that way anyway. So it's much easier now.
Who's for Romney?